Very good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. And welcome to another podcast of ProThoughts. First of all, thank you so much for being here. And warm welcome on behalf of ProThoughts. Um, I'm Saurabh, your host today, and I'm going to probably speak about 30 minutes uh, and try to catch your attention. Many of you probably might have been tired for the day. That's end of the day of yours. If it's a morning, I'm sure you would be fresh enough in the morning. Uh, a quick, uh, a quick housekeeping. There are Q&A boxes. Please ensure that you put your all your thoughts on the Q&A panel. If you have any questions, put on the Q&A box. Feel free. Feel free to put your experiences on the Q&A. Chat window would have been disabled. Um, in the interest of absolute attention of yours, we do generally uh, stop the chats. But yeah, feel free to put your thoughts on the Q&A panel. And there you go. Quick check, Namita. Am I visible as well and audible properly?
So you're not visible.
Okay, cool. Thank you. All right. So let's get going.
So excuse me, your video isn't available yet.
My video not available. Okay, so let me see what I can do. Give me a moment because that's important. Stop sharing for a while. And let's see if I can go back.
Yes, so you're visible right now.
Yeah, I'm just trying to see if why is it when I share, why is it not visible? So I'm just trying to see if something can be done on that. I could be put. Yeah, thank you. Yes, thanks for guys for putting the chat. Appreciate that. Let me share a screen and see if it's still visible. Let me share entire screen. Am I still visible, Namita? Namita, am I
I
still
think
visible?
I think you're visible to everybody else. There might be a problem from my end. You're visible to everybody else.
Cool. Okay. Without wasting any more time, let's get started. So the first question coming up to you all, and if you are on a mobile, please feel free to type your answers. Okay. Then the question is the topic that you see in the front. Okay. What challenges generally do you feel in practice? Let's make it very interactive. Okay. I really do not want to touch upon too much of a theory. I'm sure you guys probably can really read it out at your leisure, but let's talk about your experiences. Practically, what challenges do you face when you see this kind of A versus B that you're seeing in front of your screen? Put your thoughts on your Q&A panel. Let me see what your thoughts are. As I'm hoping that you got my question. Put your thoughts in so that I can see what challenges you face when you look at this kind of a topic. Okay, wonderful. Keep going. Baselining the scope. All right. Scope is variable. Change with the requirements. Interesting. What else? Dominic? Thank you, Bola. Yes, guys, come on. Put some realistic need to this. No more? That's it. Timing is the hardest. Thank you, Maria. Nabita, are these questions broadcasted to all? Everybody can see the questions, or only I can see the questions?
Uh, which questions are exactly?
I mean to say the chat box, chat window, the question
Yes.
Q&A panel, if everybody can see it, or only I can see it?
Q&A panel, everybody can see it.
Okay, guys, I hope you are able to see all the web chats. No? No, Namita? Answer is negative.
Oh, are you talking about the polls or the questions?
Questions. Everybody should be able to see it.
Um, uh, is it the additional polls? We
This is
would
the
have.
Q&A panel that people are putting in.
Yes, sir. Everybody can see the answers on the Q&A panel.
No, they are not, because they are giving them feedback they are not unable to see. All right, let me not waste my time because that's important right now. Okay. All right, guys, sorry about that. Let's begin. Let's see where do we come across. All right, put your thoughts. I'll try to summarize what I could see from the Q&A in the end. In fact, probably I could do that right away. In case you're not able to see, don't worry about it. Let me read it out for you. The challenges that you face is baselining the scope. The scope is variable, it can change with the requirements. Large gap between the project charter and the final scope. And absolutely, Bala, that's one of my pointer in my slide as well. Are the questions, oh, sorry, uh, timing is the hardest. Absolutely, timing is the hardest too. I don't see any. Okay, I could see, scroll down. There is a study which state deviation between the charter and the scope is only 60%. Wow. Uh, or we say deviation or division, probably. Vasant, you might want to reflect it back again on your spelling. I'm taking it as a deviation. Um, what else? What else? Benefit analysis. Yep, benefit analysis. What else? Sponsor support. Yes, doesn't say deviation. Fair enough. Okay, so these are the some of the things that I could get, and thanks, guys. That's true. Let's go cracking. My thoughts, and I'll probably share my experiences here. And feel free to share your experiences, and I'll narrate those experiences to everybody so that everybody get benefited. Okay, just need your little bit of attention. That's it. Nothing else. So let's get going. This is the agenda, very quick one, and I will not probably spend more than 25 minutes from now on this, and we will open for Q&A. Okay, all about project charter and the scope. Those who are not really into the game, or many of the professionals here I would presume they are PMP certified, and probably here, probably for earning the PDUs. Okay. Um, but yeah, those who are not quite aware of the absolute subtle differences between these two, let me brainstorm about that. Common challenges of a misalignment. Why does this happen? The key differences, solution to move beyond or transcend beyond the boundaries, and the conclusion and Q&A. You know what? The project charter as a sponsor, being a sponsor, I can vouch for this. It's a great marketing tool. You know what? Um, Assume that I'm the sponsor of the project. Let's say I'm sponsoring this webinar, and I've got a funds in my pocket. I a team of people who I build, including the project manager. Let's say I selected Vasant as a project manager here in the room, and assignment of a Vasant comes very dear to me because I'm taking a blind risk. I'm taking a blind bet and a blind call to put my all bet on Vasant. I'm trusting Vasant that Vasant will do a great job. Now, I'm talking about the live experience of my project, getting a project manager on board internally within the company, trusting upon the experience of that project manager. So let's Vasant experience from the past. Vasant is spent about 5 years in the same company of mine, so I know Vasant pretty well. And not a big company; I'm a small company, so we know each other relatively well. Vasant comes down and happily take up the project because he know me very well. I've done about 8 to 10 different projects in the last 5 years with Vasant. Vasant is one of the best person for me to put my all money on. I trust Vasant that the project will be successful, not only in terms of the schedule, in terms of the budgets, but in terms of the business value that Vasant delivered. You know what? Why would I feel that? Because Vasant is a great communicator. More than that, Vasant has an excellent relationship with the stakeholders. And I know that. I'm not presuming that. I know that. The game starts. I've developed a project charter, and I'm going to show you a live charter in a while. Um, and I have given it to Vasant, probably in the form of my business case document, which also have benefits plan attached to it. Potential benefits of this project, which are expected out of this project. Okay? Business case, I'm sure you guys quite know very well. It's all about your why. It's all about the purpose of the doing the project, right? And benefits are nothing but what. So you carve out the journey from why to what to a beautiful small summarized document that's called project chart, right? Lot of lot of people where I been talking about this charter and explaining the charter for to them, they think that, oh, it's a very legal document, it's a one of the very strategic document at the top. Not really, guys. Not really. If you think through, um it is it's a document to just initiate your project. For those PMP certified folks, I'm sure you know this very well, and this is a part of your initiation process group, any which ways. And the initiation of the project, do you think it's done with the project manager? Not really. It's already been done with the senior management in terms of that thought process. Let's say, for example, a EPC organization or engineering projects company who is trying to do some of the construction project, okay, or the engineering project or a plant creation. And this kind of organization obviously would have a document created by the senior management in terms of their capital budgeting aspect out of the 5 different ideas, which are the ideas which will give the best buck for their entire efforts, and in terms of also which would be giving a business the highest business value to them. And probably I picked up the one core idea and I pick up the project. If I'm a vendor driven company, this charter would generally come from our customers, right? Either in terms of a contract or in terms of purchase orders or in terms of something called a business document altogether. A lot of people whom I talk to, and some of you also might not have even seen the chart. And some of you might be wondering where is this document coming from and who's creating the document. So, one, the source of the document is the business. Could be the internal customers of yours or external customers of yours. Charter, it's not the game that's been played only by external customers. It could be internal as well, of course, and I've seen many. Also, who creates this? So the answer is there is a person, so there is a role called project sponsor. And there are a lot of misnomers in this, that the project chart is created by the project manager. No, I'll tell you. Practically, you guys might be creating the project charter as a project managers, or you guys in your organization, project manager might be practically creating the charter. However, that's been done only when the one, I as a sponsor, I trust project manager like Vasant, that he has been there for 5 years in the company and he'll do a fantastic job on creating it. So I delegate my responsibility and my accountability both to him. This is where Vasant create a project charter in practice. However, it's still my ownership to get the charter created. What some of you might be wondering, Saurabh has been talking about charter. What is this charter all about? What are the contents of the charter? In the screen, uh, in front of you, you could see the contents pretty well. And nothing new for a project manager to understand, right? It's all about the structure of the project at the beginning, as envisaged, as visualized with respect to the eyes of sponsor. Now, where do a sponsor like me get an information from? It's obviously the business case document or benefits plan that I might have from my senior management, or could, for that matter, could be any other document. With that, I will at least try and do one, try to put my project objectives in. Two, I'll try to identify key stakeholders. Who are the key stakeholders, high level stakeholders? What are the high level risks? Okay. What are the high level challenges, assumptions, constraints? I might have some milestones, a high level milestone. Some of you might be thinking, would that not be consisting of the scope? Not really, because the scope is nothing but the detailed requirement analysis and all those to be done in terms of a low level. It's of course that happens after the chart is created. However, if as I am the experienced professional, gone through this in the past across as project manager, I can put deliverables, high level deliverables, and completion of each of the deliverable as a milestone in the chart. I can do that. Okay, that's an optional one for me. So I can have the assumptions constraints. I can have acceptance criteria as I perceive as a success criteria, and I can also put my realistic expectations in terms of the timelines and budgets overall, right? So we call high level timelines and high level budgets. So a chart, it's a high level document which authorizes. So I, through this power of the document, okay, I authorize Vasant to kick start the project. The reason I'm talking about Vasant, because we're just trying to do that role play with me and Vasant. I ensure that a high level document is being developed based on my framework of the business case and benefits plan. Now, the the whole objective of this, or the why of doing the charter, is to ensure that all my stakeholders are on the same page at any given point of time. Let me repeat, so that all my stakeholders at large are on the same page of understanding of the project at any given point of time. That's a core purpose of this charter. In addition to that, of course, it authorizes the project manager. It it authorizes the project manager from the perspective of getting onboarded and also kicking off the project. So the quick contents that you probably might need to look at, in case you're not aware: title and description, objectives and goals, high level scope, deliverables, milestones, high level risk. You might be wondering, high level risk, interesting. How would sponsor know the risks? It's only the project manager's game. In fact, I was just doing a training a couple of days back in one of the corporates, and this question came to me. And the question came to me, how does sponsor envisage the risk? And I said, why not? Isn't sponsor a human being? Does the even sponsor need to be a project manager in the past? No. Sponsor is one of the person who's got vitamin M, vitamin money in the pocket, right? That sponsor can think about the risks to the project. He knows the business case and benefits plan. He can potentially figure out the high level risk. Why not? He know the people in the organization to whom this project is going to get impacted, and this project getting impacted from internal, external. So he can even, or she can probably identify the high level stakeholders also at this point of time. So this is important. This is absolutely important for people like me to at least empower my to be project managers like Sant to get going with something that I have. This is a first gap where I do not know, that Vasant do not know, obviously. How can I expect Vasant to know when I do not know? It's simple as that, right? This is a first gap. It starts from me. That means if you are a sponsor in the room here, it starts from you. Okay? So project manager authority, budget timelines, key focus, as I said, alignment between all stakeholders so that all the stakeholders are in the game. All are at equal knowledge, at par in terms of understanding of the project objectives and what is to be done in the project. Right. So audience could be any other high level stakeholders. Generally, timing, project charter would be created at the beginning or the initiation process of the project. Generally, yes. So another question I get asked, and I was doing a project and in live, and what happened because of this COVID situation or the scenario came uh, in the limelight, whereby we couldn't support the funding anymore. Even that for funding wasn't too big, we couldn't support. The question is, do the charter have a change control process on it? Can charter be changed if your objectives get changed, right? It doesn't make sense to have a charter. So in case your thought process, and you might be right in your place, charter cannot be changed. It's a one-time documentation that's been created at a very high level with a 2 or 3 PPT slides, and it cannot be modified, then it's wrong. We have done that in the past. Looking at the business perspectives, how the business shapes up, because it's all about business, right? If the no products are going to be created or no service is going to be created or been deferred, probably I might need to change my objectives in the charter as well, and timelines, etc., etc. So it might go through the change as well, of course. So timing important. Benefits, as I said, obviously it establishes the project and authority in terms of the project manager to kick off, align the stakeholders why or the expectations, and provide the initial direction and context. Now, a quick look through in terms of why is charter important. Here is where I'm going to put. I'm not going to read this for you guys. You easily can read this at your level. I'm going to give you my real life example of one of the case that I have. I was doing a project for a company, and it was a very big company. And I was an internal project manager. It was a part of the BFS. I cannot tell you the name, but this was about long back, I think. And I was the project manager, so called, in the company, and we had a internal CXO who was the sponsor of the project. As the head of the business unit, uh, that CXO had put some about a $3 million as a budget on the charter, and I was been pre-assigned because he knew me from the past. That's called a pre-assignment. So he pre-assigned me to this. So he put my name in the charter. Saurabh Parikh. Okay, fine. Now the project was all about migrations, migrating the applications from various different places, right, to one specific country or one specific location where it could be centralized. So the 7,000 different applications were all been consolidated to about, I can tell you, 70 or about not more than 100 that I remember. Not more than 100. Look at this, 7,000 applications, consolidation to 100. Now, can you believe what? Can you assume or imagine how the charter would have been looked like? Now, I was being asked to handle this project in uh, in the at the time when the project was been initiated already in the past, where a project manager of this same organization had left the company. The sponsor did a pre-assignment though in the charter, but actually the project manager was given to somebody. Now project was given to somebody else who left the company, and ultimately he asked me to handle this. I was happy because I had worked with the CXO in the past. I look at the first thing I did look at, right, was the business case document of his. He refused. He said, I can't share because that's confidential with me. I said, I would need it to understand what the challenges were. I didn't really want to go back to the person who left the company and probably the mistake he might have done, not getting initiated properly. I really wanted you. So I stayed alight and I requested I need to have that reference. So the business document, in fact, there was no charter with him, but that was the business case document that he was referring to a chart. He showed me this ultimately because I didn't leave him. So I saw the document and I saw the current project where it was up to. There were a lot of stakeholders disengagement at that point of time. People weren't aware about too much about the project. The first thing I did was I called for a conference call and got everybody in. It wasn't a re-kickoff, but it was a kind of a expectation setting and being so vulnerable and being honestly admitting that I'm new in the game. I need your help to help you. That was the word or statement I would still remember. I need your help to help you guys. Please help. Most of the people, like you have turned up today. Thank you so much, by the way, turning up. And people turned up. I got, can you believe I went for 2 hours almost, probably even beyond 2 hours. We took a deep dive. And after that, I scheduled a meeting with each of the business unit because it was a shared services project primarily. 6B SBOs it was cutting through. This was a huge challenge and it was delayed. The project was delayed and we accepted. We accepted a delay. Now, there was a risk identified originally. That was by me, that please take this risk acceptance, it's going to be delayed by 10-15%. It was communicated very well. There were, of course, because it's a $3 million project, was there were must be some issues. Without a single issue, project doesn't happen, right? My practical experience, I don't know about you. If you'll be very lucky if you do not have any challenges or any of the risks, rather, right? And risk, when it occurred, become issue, you know it very well. So I'm sure some of the risk would have already occurred, right? A potential delay or potential over budget would have already been delayed and already over budgeted. So you would have had your own, risk and issue registers that you might be mentoring. Um, this was my experience, and this triggered me a thought: how can I avoid this? Is there a way to avoid? And then this particular topic, a very unique topic that we have today, right? And I really didn't want to stick to the theoretical background of this. So I thought, I have put in my slide the experiences which I got through, and I was thinking through what do I share with you. So everything that I could think, I have put in these slides, in the next couple of slides that I have with me. So the creation of the charter happens that I do, right? First of all, understanding the key goals and objectives coming from the business documents from my senior management or board of directors. I'm responsible to define the organization breakdown structure in terms of my project and have my project manager selected. I'm responsible, right? I can probably create implementation plan if it's absolute optional. Don't even think about it, that it's only the role of a project manager. A very high level plan and be knowledgeable, I can probably create list of potential risks that I'll put down in terms of the areas, and get it signed. Now the question, and many of you might be, doing uh, or having a thought: who authorizes the charter? Please do understand, it's a maker checker concept. Person who create a charter cannot authorize a charter. So the person who create a charter, his senior or seniors would be approving the charter. That means if I am the sponsor of the project, my senior management would authorize the project charter. A quick example of the charter uh, I got through, and this is just a couple of years back, actually speaking. Uh, they're not developing a mobile app for schedule management or the schedule planner for one probably small company, as we are the consultants actually. And the business case was pretty simple: expanding the whole product portfolio for us in terms of a new app to be developed, and new app to be supported, and of course, and ensure that we leverage AI. As you could see, it's just about a couple of years back. So see the kind of a content that we have. It was all about the description, the business case, the deliverables. To look at it for both the platforms, we wanted to have it. Earlier, I used to do I've done the in the Windows environment also, when Windows CE on the Nokia was quite so you know dirty my hands on that as well. Um, this app is supposed to make a person on the go, and not only put his time cards, but also do the schedule controlling, book the slots, review the slots, and many more features like that. And it's just like any other time management app. The the go-getter here was primarily the AI driven features, which means the bot which was integrated, and a lot of automation was the budget was 50,000 and the milestones were this. So uh, this is This is a one way to create a charter, guys. Okay, this is the live case of a charter that I could create. Now I'll show you another example which I have brought for you, a live example of my charter. Okay, and you might want to just check this out. Uh, Let me share this screen with you. Sorry. And Namita, do you see my screen mentioning project charter as a document, or it's not visible?
Not yet. It's not visible yet.
All right, so I'll have to go back and see if I can. Give me a moment. Okay. For the reactions, guys, we could see it. One second, one second. I'm just going to share the whole screen, rather, so that you guys can see it. Now we'll be able to see. Cancel this. Namita, now let me know if you are able to see this Word document as a project charter. You see?
Not to me. It's not visible.
Stop sharing. People saying it's visible. This is a beauty of the
It was
reactions.
visible.
Okay, so there is a lag, maybe. That's okay. I'll do this again. Not a problem. Let me go back and share once again. Now look at it. Okay.
Yes, sir.
So,
It's
guys, thank you so much. This is a live chart, right? Now, you know what? This great sponsor, trusted upon, they trusted upon the project manager to get going. So, believe, no, okay, assume who would have created. I'll not respond back to that. You would have probably realized who would have created this. It was completely a different. It was for the whole new platform vehicle. It is not for the vehicle. It is platform vehicle. Okay, it's a XTS 5000 for the new range of vehicle to be launched by December 2023. Okay. Um, High level project description. The platform vehicle will house in-house engine, suspension, chassis design. The design of vehicle should be modular so that the multiple variants can be generated. Project boundaries. The project aims to reduce the weight and the cost as per the targets. Key deliverables, blah, 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 blah. The high-level requirements on this, the overall project risk. Look at the summary milestones that I have with me. Some success criteria, in terms of the very technical quality specifications, as all you understood pretty well. On terms of success criteria, what should generally be it, and this is exactly you replicate in your scope statements as well, I'm sure. The project objectives, these 7 different phases with milestone dates. Okay, so this is all with milestone dates which has been captured here. Now that's pretty much a kind of an example which thought I'll show you a charter which had been created and given it a shape that a initiator like you as a PM, or like Vasant as a PM, can get a good hack of it primarily. Let's jump to quickly on the scope statement. I'm going to skip this slide primarily because most of this you are aware. All right, but I'll read in between the lines now. I'll read between the lines. The primary differences, or the uh, you know key differences between the charter and the scope. If you very carefully look at the scope document, in terms of either the scope statement, your SOR, statement of requirement coming from your customer, SOW, statement of work coming from the stakeholders or whoever, And a scope statement is something which has been done by the project manager and the team once they are onboarded. This conversion can be from the contract as well. That's been there. In the contract, you'll have a requirements. If there are no requirements and I'm supposed to do the requirements gathering and elicitation with my team, then I will define this detailed document and I will put through it. So this detailed document will be different from this charter in terms of every item of the charter would be elaborated further. Let's talk about the assumptions and constraints. Assumptions and constraints in the charter would be thought through by a sponsor at a high level, two or three. A project manager comes in, look at the scenario, try to brainstorm with the team, look at the requirements, or when trying to elicit the requirements, take in detail view. Risks, the low level risk, the low level stakeholders, all these things go in detail. Now, the charter's target audience is at a high level, executive committee, the business heads or the cross-functional heads. The project scope document that you create, the target audience are all the stakeholders at large. Right? The other difference between a charter is created initiation level, the scope document is created at the planning level. The benefits of the scope. One, uncontrolled scope changes. If you have a proper scope document, obviously uncontrolled scope changes can be tackled. I will not say very practically, guys, being I know how difficult it is to manage scope creep, but those uncontrolled scope changes still can be handled, though you might still be doing the free of cost, but there is a way to do the free of cost work as well and try to ensure that everything is documented. Right? Probably in some other session, I'll show you the ways to how to uh, manage scope creep, even with the customer satisfaction, and with all those uh, formal aspects, and nothing going informally or trying to help the customer. It's still within those formality, within the boundaries that you do. All right, there are other ways to manage scope creep. Second benefit is the scope document ensure that you have your good schedules and your cost estimates based on the work area which has been documented in the scope. And the last one, it try to set the expectation of what deliverables are being expected. When you break the whole work down in terms of your work breakdown structure, the WBS would at least interest the stakeholders to look at the entire scope, right? So what I do is I sit with my team and I would just create WBS first at a high level, and then probably go with the component levels, multiple slides, etc., and then explain to my stakeholders, and then can try to elicit the requirements, and then try to create the scope statement. That's what I would do. So both the ways you can do it, you can create the scope statement first and WBS next. So the gaps, and I'm not going to talk about this much because I think this is something which is quite obvious. There is a very detailed, and you can probably take a snapshot also, feel free, of this slide. I'll summarize this. The first gap, as already spoken about, start from me as a sponsor. Okay, first gap start because I have a different thought process. Vasant has a different thought process here. Second gap, communications across stakeholders, not just between sponsor and the PM, across stakeholders. That's a big gap I've seen. Third gap, the requirements are not understood by me myself, the another me starting from me myself. Okay, that's something which I need to be absolutely clear. When I deal with as a sponsor, when I deal with the business stakeholders, I need to get my DOR, definition of really, the word we use in agile typically. It should be clear. Why should my project team asked me and challenged me on this, saying that, sorry, we cannot start the work because there is a non-clarity. I don't want that. And this shows that, yeah, experiences teaches you a lot. The three primary gaps, and the remaining the ones that you could potentially see on your screen. These are the some of the gaps I could think it's from my experiences which are possible between these two, the sponsor and the project manager and team both, or between a charter and your scope document. This all the statements, guys, that you could see here are coming from the experiences. The another one which I was in the same project that I was talking about 3 million, the challenge was wrong expectations set by me or by the sponsor, sorry, the CXO head. And expectations meaning we have to do this project in 3 months when it was not just possible to do 3 million in 3 months. So we had to reset the expectations like that. No, not at all. And that's difficult. That is difficult. You might say, "Hey, the contract is already been signed, right? Or the project is already been signed. And how can we just probably go back now on timelines? It's going to be only the delay. That's all. Risk is accept. No, you can still go back. You can still go back. And I have done that. I have challenged the sponsor as a PM. Sorry, I do not agree with these timelines in a very, very subtle way, but in a very, very soft manner. This is the another challenge. The way you communicate and not what you communicate is how you communicate, guys. Another lessons learned in my career. So I'm going to stop for a while here because I really I want to see your questions, your thoughts, and probably let's do this. Let's collaborate on this slide. Okay. So I'm going to let you think about some questions and let's do some Q&A for next 10 minutes and wrap it up. Before that, to invigorate your some of the thoughts, I've got some questions for you. Let me see if I can put up a poll while you think about the questions and put it in Q&A. Let me put up a poll. Give me a moment. Try to see if I can do this somewhere. Launch a poll easily. Yep, I could do it. I will start the poll. And please get going with your please get going with your poll. As you could see, think about what are you thinking about it. Think about yourself. And I'm keeping it transparent so that you can see the results. Sorry, there's a little bit background noise. I'll just mute. Come on, guys. Still only 48%. What are you thinking about? Some people on the roads may not be able to watch it. It's okay. Excused. All right. Thanks. So that's correct. The charter is created by a sponsor, and of course, that was simple because I already mentioned it. The remaining three could probably the way you feel those who answered may not be wrong because that might be you might be doing, but the worldwide average people, average project managers and sponsors go with this third option. Okay, and then Your standard called project management body of knowledge also mentions the similar thing about. So publish the results to you. So in case you are unable to see it, okay. So this is where we are. The person said the third one. Back to list and probably one more. Try it out. Choose your best as per your practical experiences, not as per the theoretical knowledge. No. Come on, guys. Keep going. Keep going. Thank you for voting. Excellent. Good. So, okay, good. Keep going. Keep going. Keep going. It's very interesting to see. Nobody's selecting second option. Wow. First option is also very hardly one. Yeah, exactly. One person voted for it. Most of you voted for last option. Hmm. This reflects your experience, my friends, and I'm so glad to see that. Even the third one, it's so true. You know what? This question was thought through me, not as a right and wrong, but to pour your practical perspective. No answer is right and wrong. In fact, all the options are true. Right? It depends. So look at the. Let me publish the results in case you can't see. 63%. Last option. 21 out of 33. Amazing. Oh, okay. The last one. Thank you so much, guys. Last one in my list. And there you go. Again, based on your experiences, choose the best. No hurry. Think through it. During that time, I'll just go to the question panels. While you Okay, let me answer this question. Can a project charter have a multiple project scope? Amit Gupta asking. Hey, Amit, thank you so much for joining this. The project charter should ideally have one charter, one scope. You have a multiple scope, that means you might have a multiple deliverables, but under the same project, it's quite okay. It's supposed to be one charter, one project, multiple deliverables, and each deliverable will have its own scope. That's possible. If you're thinking that multiple scope across multiple projects or across, if you have sub projects, right? Yes, one charter can have multiple scope of each of the sub project. That's possible. Sub project doesn't need separate charters, unique ones. No, it can have multiple sub projects as well. Pradeep asking, how do we need to influence project sponsor if there are conflicts with the scope creep which impact schedule? Excellent, Pradeep. Thank you so much. And I'll give you my real perspective. It is difficult. Believe me, it is difficult, though not impossible. And from a real life example perspective, if I have to think, immediately I can think about a project which was done about a decade back or so. Uh, there is a scope creep, which is common thing. Even those a decade back as well, more so than the today. and expectation was to do few of the requirements free of cost. The sponsor said, I'm run out of my money and I can't give you any additional thing. Though I was not quite keen to do free, even being PMP certified, that decade back, I allowed it. Now, that was one of the biggest mistake which I did. And I realized because my boss, who was head of portfolio management and program management as well, he came very heavily on me, saying, this is not done, sir. This is the first kind of a lesson you need to take and try not to do it again. Now, in the same year, there was another project done for the same sponsor. You know what I did, Pradeep? Based on my boss's advice, same sponsor, I put my foot down. Another project, another scope. When I say I put my foot down, I told him that, look, I can help you. It's come at an incremental cost. That's it. Some efforts. I just need to justify a few of the efforts. Luckily, it was internal project, but still, the sponsor was like, okay, it's going to be cross-charging me. I said yes, but not much. That was so. I was ready when I spoke to him. I was ready with impact analysis, Pradeep, and the conversation that I had was very simple. It's not bloated one. It was a realistic one. I said, sir, if you were in my position, what you would have done, right? Being very, one of the core values of the company, being ethical, just doing that. I just need your help and some support from you. He went back. He somehow figured out that additional cross charge for me. He, believe me, not only that, but the two more change requests after that. Baselining was done with proper scope control. That probably was my icing on the cake. But yeah, we learned few things, lost few things, Pradeep. Lost many in fact in the bargain in the past. Yeah. Let me go back to the the polls. What's the result of the last one? Let me publish the result. Awesome. This is what I was expecting. This particular question, I really wanted to ensure that I keep it very neutral, and still it's on the third one. It's little bit weight there, which is quite okay. Not a problem. That's great. Understanding the stakeholders. And then let me just quickly see if there are any Q&A more which have been put by the people. Not that I could see it in case. Let me go back. Okay, I can see some more. Guys, give me 5 more minutes on this. There's a question, so Rohan asking, does a project charter include even a timeline by which a 100% Rohan project charter is supposed to have a high level timeline in terms of my expectation as a sponsor to complete the project? Difference between the project charter and SOW. Dominic, thank you so much for asking. Statement of work is something which is provided by your customer or your stakeholder, internal, external, not by the project team. Project team will create a scope statement from SOW. The detailed expectation in terms of requirements would be put in a SOW in a Word format. Dominic, project charter could be PPT or Word, but it is a high level. It all starts with the project charter, and then at a low level, the customer can probably even think through it an internal process. The SOW, at times, customer might call the consultants also to develop the SOW. It could be external consultants too, or it could be the customer's internal team, the operations team or the cross-functional team that help them create SOW and put it either in terms of the purchase order or in terms of the contract. And based on that, Dominic, the great project managers of the world will create the scope statement. and get it baseline after signature of those customers of the question. Um, can PM ask more clarity on the charter for better? 100% Narayan. And I told you, right? I did that. I did it in the past. I asked for the more clarity. Sorry. Stop sharing for a while. Am I audible, Namita? Okay, sorry. All right, let me check if there is any more question coming from anybody. No? Okay. How to convince the project sponsor on the way project plan can be planned, executed as the PM wants, rather than interference from the stakeholder for a fixed cost. Let me read again for everybody. Beautiful question, Ramchandran. Thank you. Let me read again for everybody's benefit. How to convince the project sponsor on the way the project plan can be planned or executed as PM wants, rather than interference from stakeholder on a fixed. Excellent question. So the question is from the perspective of the PM. How do you, in a nutshell, how do you influence your sponsor to take your sponsor? It's like the way, which is my way or highway. When the one Ramchandran is having a great power and authority in the company, Ramchandran has an excellent relationship with the sponsors, cross-functional stakeholders already in the company. Ramchandran has spent multiple years in the company. It's not easy to convince. You know what? Because if I'm the sponsor, it's like my way or highway, Ramchandran, right? Probably not yours. You're the PM. So for you as a PM to satisfy all my needs, give me a confidence. Give me confidence. Give me confidence that your way will be, I'll give you complete authority. Delegation of authority is my core area. I've been practicing since I'm almost a decade now. I'll give it to you. How do I build a trust in Ramchandran? There are a little bit of a soft skills where it touches upon more than hard skill, Ramchandran. And the fixed price project, yes, absolutely. Fixed price projects can also be, in fact, I've done many in terms of the same kind of a scenario whereby I was the project manager, and the way we align, it's not me and you, Ramchandran, it's we together, me and my sponsor. That means my objective is to align the core vision of my sponsor. When that happens, it becomes smoother enough, right? Over a period of time, nothing is easy. Nothing is easy. You need to work upon that. You need to rebuild the relationships if at all required. Sorry, that's a key. If you break somewhere in between, if you have challenges in managing the expectations or the influences, you still need to stick to, you still need to stick your neck out. Sorry about that, but it's hard effort. You may need to take influential people. You may need to influence somebody else who can influence the sponsor on this as well. That's also I've done. I'm sure you also would have done, Ramchan, on that. What's the difference between a charter and a SOW? So that question I answered. Nick, think. Let's go to, is there any other question? Is there a validation method or a process for the project charter? Absolutely. There is a validation method to validate the charter objective when the project, not just at the end of the project, but each and every phase completion or a deliverable accomplishment, you try to go back and who the sponsor will do that. PM generally doesn't do. PM ideally supposed to do along with the sponsor. This is my take. And I think it's important for PM because ultimately PM tomorrow will become a sponsor. So should validate whether my business value has been derived out of this outcome of the project or not. Should be there ideally. Ramchandra said, but here the project sponsor is a customer and has already burnt his fingers earlier, hence interference on a low level activities. Obviously, Ramchandran. Obviously, think about it. You are a customer. I am a vendor of yours, Ramchandran. I burnt your fingers with you only in the past. Oh, sorry, you as a customer, you burnt the fingers with me in the past. What do you expect from me? 100%. And what are you saying? 100% true. I agree with you. Sponsor is a customer, external customer, for example. Do I establish the trust again? Two answers. Yes. And second answer, yes. There is no no. Do I work with you closely? Even if you do not like me and my company? Yeah. If probably if I would have a time, I would have taken through a couple of instances of mine. How did I did for one of the BFSI? In fact, for the bank, I was running a program of 7 projects. A very similar situation occurred in one of the governance project in the out of the program. But yes, that's possible. You have to rebuild the time. Part of the this is what make you so humble at any given point of time. Hardcore project manager also, and that hardcore meaning you can't have a very hard stance. Still understand those perceptions of a stakeholder, but you still need to very softly expectations set. And this is where a project manager is required, right? In the project. That's the reason I have a job with me, right? So I'm not sure if you still agree with me, but that's what I do. Okay. Last one, guys, the poll. Quick, if you can just help me. How was the session? Give me your ratings, guys. If you could see it, give me a thumbs up. All of you, take more than 5 seconds of your time. Appreciate your extended, really appreciate your extensible time window. But let me answer all the questions and put through together. All right, thank you so much. Publish the results. This is what the results are. I really appreciate you give me a valuable feedback. The second question coming in your way, a very quick one. If you really want to, anybody interested in the PMP, okay, a lot of people are talking about, so that means, okay, it's a half, no plans yet. I'll be honest, publish the results as soon as possible. 45%, no plans yet. 45, that's okay. That's your choice. And probably the last one, we like a consultant to give you the details on PMP. Can be honest, that's okay. Yes or no, let me know. And we can accordingly touch base, keep connected. I'll keep in touch with you that way. Some standard questions that we do, webinars, so that we keep connected with each other. All right. Keep going, keep going. I could see some increase. Keep going. All right, let me stop here. Thanks. No more questions. Thank you so much, Appreciate that. And good luck, guys. I'll see you once again. Thanks.